Hard Life Captain Albert here. Alright, so one of the videos we posted up was about the reels and spooling. Now the question keeps coming up about the differences between the two reels, between a regular single speed, a G2, and a Raptor. Well, I've got a couple here in front of me and I'm going to do some quick explanations because there's really not much difference between them other than drag and whether they're 2-speed or an MC. So I'm going to run through the functions real quick. Alright guys, so with these two reels, one of the first things that you'll notice is the gearbox or the housing on them on the SX Raptor, which is this one right here, is thicker on the gear side. The reason being because the gear or the bearing is actually the biggest on this one in comparison to the G2. Now line capacity, they hold exactly the same amount. The SX Raptor has a higher cranking ability than the G2 on both the high and the low. It's only by a few inches, but still it's there. Also too, this one puts out 26 pounds of drag, where this one only puts out 20 pounds of drag. So now guys ask me, well, which one should they buy and so forth. For me, I'm always going to go with the Raptor because I abuse everything. I go shark fishing. Alright, and so another thing is too, since these are both MCs, these are the magnetic control dials on the side of the reel. This controls your ability to be able to cast without using a thumb into the wind or with the wind to your back. So that would be something to look forward to as well. Now, again, people ask me, well, which one would you prefer? I prefer the Raptor just because of the style of fishing I do. I can use this reel for anything I want to do, from throwing finger mullet on a 3-way swivel and a popping cork, or shrimp on a popping cork, and still get good distance without backlashing. And also too, if I want to go heavy shark fishing, I can throw a 10-ounce weight on this with no worries and still be able to break that surf weight in and pull it in quick. Or if I want to go offshore fishing, snapper and anything out there, pretty much this reel will pretty much handle it, no worries. Now granted, this is a $395 reel, where this one is about $40 cheaper. And with this one being $40 cheaper, it doesn't have the drag as much as the SX or the cranking ability, but at the same time too, for those that are willing to save a little bit of money, this G2 will do almost everything this one can do. And for just starting out, it would be a great way if you're using surf weights. If you're not using surf weights, then you can go to the G2 single speed and still have the increased drag and all of that. The reason why I'm telling everybody about the drag and stuff like that and the increased ability on it is because since they have overly built gears and bearings, have you ever heard reels that scream when you cast? Well, the main reason being is because when you go to crank, you're locking the reel over and you're making sure this spool does not move so you can break the weight loose. Well, what ends up happening after you keep doing that for so often, the bearing starts to get warped onto one side, and that's where the scream comes from. And that's where when you replace the bearing on it, you don't got no more scream. Well, with these, I've had them for over 10 years now, and I've yet to replace any bearings on them. On the G2, I cannot vouch for because my buddies and the team have gotten them, and it's been, what, 3 years now?
It's
4?
The third year, and the bearing still has not replaced. It's not even squeaking yet.
There you go. So he's had it for 3 years and the bearing has still not been replaced, and all we do is shark fish on the beach and or in the bay with heavy weights.
Huh? I don't even wash it.
Yeah, and as you can tell, yeah, you can see all the grime build up on it. They're just like me. He doesn't even rinse it off and anything like that. So that just gives you an idea as well. This is a reel that can take a beating and keep on going without doing all of that. Obviously, if you drop them in the water and the sand and stuff like that, you don't want to continue using it until you've opened it up and cleaned it out, especially if your drag was unfreezable. But if your drag was engaged, that means that the pressure plate against your drag plate was closed, so no sand got up in there. However, the bearing, that will soak up some sand. Somehow, some way, it just does it. So you'll want to replace and clean out your system before you do all of that. So what else can I think of? I think that's about it. So if you're fishing you know, strictly freshwater and stuff like that, you really don't need that 2-speed. But if you're going for these big old monster gar, yeah, we've pulled in gar with the Raptor series, and I'm pulling them, you know, the 4 and 5 footers to the bank in about 25-30 seconds at most. But then again, I'm using 100-pound test as my top shot, so they really have nowhere to run at that point. I still haven't broke 6 foot yet, but it is coming, so stay tuned as we will keep knocking that out.